So I've had a lot of questions about doing the homework, and so I thought maybe what we could do is we could work through a couple of the problems. I give you an idea of what I'm hoping to get turned in from you guys. So maybe we'll just work through a few problems together, make sure it's clear, so that way it's easy for you guys to complete the homework and get it uploaded. Okay, so we're looking at the module 2, which is the first module where we have homework. You'll see that I want you to work problem set 1, problems 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8 in chapter 1. Okay, one of the important things to note about the problem set 1s is that the answers are available in the back of the book. So you can always check your answers, compared to what you have, to make sure you're clearly understanding what you're supposed to do. All right, so I don't ask you to do any homework where you can't get access to those answers to make sure you're on the right track. So where is this homework? So I have an electronic copy of the textbook here. You'll notice that we're in chapter 1. And when we get to the end of the chapter, so we have the full chapter, and at the very end of the chapter, we get into the practice problems. Right? And what we're doing is we're doing the set 1 practice problems. Okay, there's another set. There's the set 2 practice problems, which you are more than welcome to do any ones that I give you that aren't assigned for practice if you want. The only ones I expect you to do are the ones that are assigned. So the set 2 won't have the answers in the back of the book, though. All right, so the set 1 problems, and it tells you right here, right, where the answers are in the back of the book, 680, 681, you can find these answers. All right, so I'm asking you to do 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So some of these might be more difficult than others to do electronically. So I've been going back and I've been looking at them, and some of them are just my mistake. Because I'm using homework assignments that I'm used to doing in the face-to-face class. So like problem number 8 here, where it asks you to make up and draw an example of the following distributions: symmetrical, rectangular, skewed to the right. This is something you can probably do electronically in the Google Sheets, but just coming up with your own data. But that's a little harder than just trying to draw it. So I'm going to try to be more careful to make sure that I'm not assigning you problems here that just don't really fit well electronically. All right, but some of the problems do ask you to explain or give written answers, and we can still do these. So let's go ahead and get into our Google Sheets. All right, I recommend doing a separate sheet for each problem, especially if we're working with data. So, we'll have problem 1, 2, and 3. Actually, sorry, 1, 3, and 4. So 1, though, doesn't ask us to do anything with data. 1 is asking us a question. A client rates their satisfaction with a vocational counselor as a 3 on a 4-point scale, from 1 not at all satisfied to 4 being satisfied. What is the variable, the possible values, and the client's score? All right, so we can come over here and we can just take the first column and we can even adjust it so it appears a little better, and we're just going to answer the questions directly. So let's look at it again. So A is the variable. Oops, so A is the variable, which in this case is satisfaction. Right. B is the possible values, right? So these are going to be the values, which are going to range from 1 to 4. You can do what the Likert scale means, from not at all satisfied to very satisfied, right? And then the last one is, what is the client's actual score? So that's C. And we'll just say the score is, check again, was 3. All right, boom, there we are. We've answered that question to my satisfaction. So we'll move on to question 3. Now, question 3 is the first one that deals with data. So a particular block suburban neighborhood has 20 households the number of children in these households is as follows. Okay, so the data in this case is going to be 2, 4, 2, 1, 0, 3, 6, 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2, 2. All right, so now we have our data here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our frequency table first. So it asks us to do a frequency table and then a histogram. All right, so if we come back and we look at the textbook, we're going to be doing a frequency table, histogram, and describe the general shape of the distribution. Okay, so let's start with the frequency table. So go ahead and select the data. Okay, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to create our pivot table. We'll put it in the existing sheet so we keep track of it. If we click this little button here, it'll let us select where we want it to appear. So we'll just stick it over here, a couple columns over. Click OK. Click Create. There we go. As we covered in the video, we need to tell it if we're going to do a frequency chart of the children. And we're going to want to do something with the children. In this case, we're going to count them. Boom. There we go. There's our frequency table. All right. Let's now do our histogram. So we'll start by selecting our data. We'll come over here and do Insert Chart. Right? Make sure it comes up as a histogram. If not, we can change that here. So select a histogram. So one thing you'll notice that I forgot to cover in the videos is that the buckets down here, it'll auto-create them, and sometimes it'll create them in a weird fashion, like with these decimals. That's easy to fix. Just come over here to Customize. We go to Histogram, change bucket size to just 1, right? We're now going over 6, so we can change that. Come down to the horizontal axis. We'll do 0. We'll just set the minimum, so 0 to 6 is the maximum. And there we go. And that would look like what we would expect it. The bucket sizes are there. It matches the frequency chart. And that's the first two parts. And now they want us to describe the shape of this. You know, you can describe it in any way you like. To me, it looks like we got a little bit of a tail here, so this seems to be a little bit right skewed, unimodal. So I'll just come down here in some place where I have room, say the shape of the histogram is unimodal with a right skew. All right, there we go. And I will be able to look at this sheet here and see each of the things that you have done. And there we go. That's your histogram, your frequency table, and the answer to the shape. All right, let's do one more. We'll do problem 4. So if we come over to our sheet, we'll go over one more sheet, right? We'll take a look at problem 4. All right, so this is 50 students were asked how many hours they studied this weekend. Here are their answers. Okay, so back over here to Google Sheet. And this will be study hours. And then we got to input the data. So let's do it. 11, 2, 0, 13.
Eventually.
Whew, okay. Got all the data entered. And if we look at the problem, make sure we're doing everything it asks. So a frequency table, a histogram, and describe the shape of the histogram. Easy enough. So let's come back over here, select our data. We are going to do our pivot table. We will put it on this sheet. We'll just stick it over here. Yeah, that works. So for rows, we'll add the study hours. For the values, we're going to be doing something with the study hours. In this case, we're going to be counting them. And there's our frequency table. And lastly, we are going to, I guess not lastly, but we're going to insert our histogram. Make sure it's a histogram. Okay, so it's doing something weird with the axes again. So we will fix that. We will set that to 1. And we will set the horizontal maximum to be 0 minimum. And the maximum is 18. And there is our histogram. In this case, I would call this unimodal and symmetrical around the center. There we go. And that's all I would be looking for this problem. Once you've done all of the problems and your worksheet's ready to go, all you got to do is name it something like Stats Homework Chapter 1. Right? You can name it whatever you want. Once that's done, we come over to File, go to Download, and I would prefer it if you download it as a PDF. Just going to download this as a PDF. Right? Just give us a chance to look at it. Right? We want to do the whole workbook. Right? So watch that you're not just doing a single sheet. So we look at it. Yeah, that looks like everything. Right? So this is definitely this is enough for me to be able to review it. Make sure you're doing the homework correctly. That looks good to me. So we'll go ahead and export that to my computer, and it should just download it straight to your downloads folder or whatever your default folder is for downloading. Then we come over to the class, right? Remember, we're on Learning Module 2. We find where we upload our homework. Okay. We then go over to Browse My Computer. We find it, the Stats Homework, Chapter 1. Okay. And then we simply submit it, upload it. Boom. You're done. Your homework has been done and submitted for the week. So hopefully this video makes it a lot clearer about how to do the homework. Please keep the questions coming.